So, welcome to day one of the Untangle Your Life bootcamp. Sometimes you'll get these lessons just as audios, and sometimes there will be a video and an audio. Today, I wanted to do a video and I wanted to say welcome. And I want to show you how I work a little bit as well, because one of the things that slows us down from being unstoppable is this idea of perfectionism. So, full transparency, this is how I'm working today. And what I do is I sit down and I really think about you and I think about me, where I was, and I think about what do I wish I could share and what would make the biggest difference if there are only 10 minutes available, or 3 minutes, or 5 minutes. And I take the decision that they are everything that we need. What will we do with those? So I've got four concepts for you today. They kind of build into one, which is essentially this idea of exploring versus searching. Okay. So, what we want to think about as we go on this journey together is noticing where your focus is. Now, when we have an exploring mindset, we are already absolutely in the knowledge that we are enough, that we have everything that we need. And anything that we explore and we discover is just a lovely bonus to that, right? And what that might express itself as is, for example, doing a course or picking up a book with, how will I apply this to my life? Versus, this is going to fix me, right? The same with relationships. If you are in a relationship or you're thinking about dating, when you're exploring, because you've already built up a life that you love, a life that you're very proud of, and you're looking for someone to share that with, that's a very different energy from there's a gap in my life and I need a person to complete me. Okay. So, exploring versus searching energy, you can just notice that today, which brings us to the second concept. How do we know that we're exploring versus searching? Well, because of the way the brain is designed, and you're going to learn all about that in the next 30 days, I'm going to give you these little micro lessons. We have this 80% negativity bias, which usually takes us to judgment, right? Especially if you notice, like, oh, yeah, I'm doing that. Oh my God, yeah, I'm always looking for courses. I'm always doing this. We just want to interrupt that and replace it with curiosity. Why might I be searching instead of exploring? Have I been conditioned by, something that came up for me was I realized I love Jane Austen. I watched a lot of Jane Austen adaptations and read a lot of Jane Austen books when I was young, like before I was 10 years old. So until I was 36, 37, I was basically waiting for Mr. Darcy to appear, right? My subconscious really thought that was the way the story would end. I just needed to be my best Elizabeth Bennet and I would get a Pemberley, right? That's okay. Once I know, oh, that's the programming that's running, I don't need to do that. I can be Mr. Darcy. Then we get to change the story, okay? The third concept is creating space for this. And I certified as a time hacker coach. So you're going to get a lot of creating time and changing your relationship with time as we go through this journey. What I want you to think about is that just a couple of seconds, when I talk about creating space, it can be a couple of seconds. So no matter where you are right now, I just want you to think like, okay, if the only space that I have available is when I'm cleaning my teeth, can you be present when you're cleaning your teeth? Instead of walking around, that's something that I still catch myself doing, and I use it as an opportunity to return to myself. So if I notice that I'm stomping into the kitchen and cleaning my teeth, I just think like, okay, let's just go back and be present for 60 seconds, for 2 minutes, however long you clean your teeth for, right? Because I know that if I am someone who is present when they're cleaning their teeth, I'm also someone who's able to focus on just writing one email and then sending it instead of jumping between things. I'm also someone who can listen and be present when I'm in a conversation with somebody or with myself. So a couple of seconds is absolutely enough. Now, one last thing on exploring versus searching and how you're going to apply that as you go through this process of creating clarity, of being unstoppable, of rediscovering the part of yourself that knows they can do anything they set their mind to. I want you to think about noticing where you are creating from what you don't want versus what you do want. So we have this practice of, I always say, like, look forward. If you notice yourself looking back, just literally, I used to just turn my head and I would say, like, okay, look forward. Because if we are deciding that we want things based on what we don't want, we're creating from an energy of like running away. Okay, so I think of it as like there's a monster behind me, like the Scream movies, and like you're running and you're looking over your shoulder, like, oh fuck, I don't want a job like that again. Oh God, I don't want a relationship like that again. You're going to trip over, right? You're setting yourself up to fail. Whereas if we're looking ahead, and I think about like the excitement of a kid that's going to Disneyland, right? Or going to your favorite cafe, you're like, it's opening at 9. I'm going to get my biscuit. I'm going to get my croissant. It's going to be amazing, right? And you're focused, eyes on the horizon, walking forward. You're not looking back. You are walking forward. You're present. Okay. That's what we want to start to do. So again, we use curiosity, not judgment, and we just notice, oh, I've been creating based on what I don't want. Now I'm going to start practicing thinking about what I do want. So your task today is really to pick one of these things. It can be exploring and just noticing where you are searching versus exploring. It can be practicing curiosity versus judgment. Or if you're not at that point, it can just be noticing judgment, noticing the language. And again, don't worry too much because we'll go into all these things in the next 30 days. Or it can be creating space. It might be when you open the fridge, you just pause and you take a breath. You clean your teeth, you pause, you take a breath. Any of these things starts to move you in a different direction, a completely different direction. And what I also invite you to do, what I'm going to put as today's task, is to pick a way that you will celebrate completing these tasks or even setting the intention to complete these tasks. I used to do this just by like closing my eyes. And in fact, when I did this, I would go and stand at the window and I would just give myself a few seconds to look at nature because I was in Normandy and I was in my collapsing renovation alone with my dog Rita, so I wasn't alone. And my environment didn't feel particularly beautiful, but there were beautiful trees outside. And if I went to the window or I stood outside for just a second, I could hear the birds singing and it just felt amazing. Later, when I was in Spain, again, I could see nature and it was just a really good moment. Today, what I'm going to do is to celebrate closing the open doors on this program and then opening the new program. I'm going to take myself for a hot chocolate in an amazing place that I love, right? So we can start to add in these celebrations, and what will happen is your brain is going to be more comfortable with doing scary things because it's like when you were a kid and you went to the dentist and they gave you a sticker, right? Even when you were a bit scared and they were doing stuff to your teeth, you knew that you were going to get a sticker from the drawer afterwards. Okay, so that's what we're doing. We're going to start creating intentional rituals, like celebrating, like creating space, like practicing observing. And through those rituals, we are going to uncover the part of you that is unstoppable. And we're going to make them the loudest and make them the normal because repetition is the most powerful tool that we have in behavior change. It's everything, okay? And what happens when we're not coaching ourselves is we have unintentional repetition. So rituals are intentional repetition. Okay, share your thoughts, share how you're going to celebrate, noticing that you're practicing judgment, share it in the comments, and I will see you tomorrow for day 2.